Let's see if it fires up. Okay, nothing's happening. Hey, I think it's gonna work today. All right, let's having this conversation. Very interesting conversation. More money, more education is more money, or the most educated people make the most money. I believe that to be true. Now the question is, what is education? That's the big question. Because there was something that was happening on the Facebook page, and I was like, really? That's kind of special. That's very, very special. And I was wondering, do I get into the fray? And I got into the fray. And that's the question I've been asking for many years. And, I started in 2011. My first video, The Degree Myth, got tons of hate. And now I'm just sitting here going, how does this go? How does this happen? All right. And here we go. Let people know that we are doing this, that we are available, that this is working today. It's a special day. It's a very special day, but more on that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and let folks know that we're doing this. If you noticed, I didn't do the AM hustle this morning, if you're around, because I've been busy all morning. A lot of stuff going on. Live now. More education, more money. Just letting the peeps know what's going down. Let this out because, like I said, today is a very special day. It's September 30th. And a lot of stuff is going down today. A lot of wonderful stuff. So what I can do is go ahead and let you folks know what's about to happen. And it's going to be right here. Essentially, today is the last day that you can get the Hustlers Hong Kong, not the Hustlers Hong Kong, the Hustler Mindset, hustlerskungfu.com special. 6 p.m. it expires. You have 3 hours and odd minutes to make that happen. Now, how do you make that happen? I'm going to put this in the comments. This is where you go. This is what you purchase. This is how you make it happen. And this should not be private once it's done, so you'll be able to check it out. Make sure I got everything straight. Yes, I didn't check that box, so we're good to go. And we have one person watching who's here. That's awesome. Okay, now let's talk about the truth of this statement. The more education that you have, the more money that you will make. I agree 100%. I don't have a problem with that statement. My issue is, what is education? How does that break down? And if you're here, well, that's one person. I'm going to ask this question again. Go ahead and tell me, what do you think education is? While I work on putting some stuff out, letting people know that this is so awesome. It's on today. It's working. We're making it happen. I mean, seriously, what is education to you? Historically, when someone says go out and get an education, 99.8% of the time they're talking about a degree. No one says go out and learn as much as you can without the vetting process of a university. It's just not said, not inferred, creates some issues because you have many people who buy that thing, that just buy that paradigm, buy that whole premise, hook, line, and sinker, and it doesn't always work out. Many times it doesn't work out. It can be very, very bad. Now we have to ask ourselves, Why is it bad? Why is it very bad? Why does this happen? This is something that I'm going to talk about in Disruptive Ronin. I'll get into that in a minute, but just letting, like I said, more edge, because typically when I start these things, most people come in at the 15-minute mark. More money. Is it true? I think it's true. I think it's definitely true. And we're not going to ever have an argument on that, because we got into it with someone I know, or someone from real life on Facebook, or I should say the physical life, because digital life is very real. And we were talking about it, he was just making some assumptions, and I told him, I said, I have more education than you. He has a degree, but he hasn't continued to learn at the level that I have. I'm learning stuff all the time. Let's see. Here's Dora Anjani. Education to me is the impression of knowledge for the purpose of exercising it so the person can take action to administrate their life. But again, I'm self-taught for the last 20 years. I mean, however you become educated, as long as you become educated, is my thing. And this is the big deal I have against colleges. Society with technology and society are almost on two different worlds. Things are moving so quickly that you have people who are thinking that the education that they're getting today in an institution is going to serve them well later on in the world. The truth of the matter is, if you learn something now, say you're a freshman in college, and what you're learning now is cutting edge, bleeding edge, really. You graduate 4 or 5 years later, then that shit's obsolete. That is where we are. It moves so quick because there was a comment that I totally disagreed with about, the comment was, everyone's not cut out for entrepreneurship. And my thought process for that is, everyone's cut out to eat. Everyone is cut out to have a place to stay. Everyone's cut out to do many different things. So why aren't you cut out to be a business owner? Ooh, I got the answer. Because people tell you that that's risky. From what I've seen in the last 7 years, having a job is risky. Because as an employer, I look at things differently. I got a position open right now, and you should look at some of these resumes. Oh, wait a minute. We're about to mess up. I'm about to totally mess up. Hold on a second. Essentially, you have to understand that the way that an employer looks at you today is radically different than the way that an employer looked at you, say 5 years ago, say 10 years ago, definitely 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's a different ball game. It's a different way that they look at you. It's a different way that they evaluate you. It's a different way that you're judged. And many people just don't get that. They're just kind of stuck on what they want with little regard to what is and what's going to be. It makes a huge difference in your ability to have a life, your ability to do the things that you need to do to make. Okay, that's just pretty funny. All right, that's I'm telling you, this stuff is wild doing this live streaming, because this is like live for real. And hold on, here we go. We got 2 people watching. Hello to the new person that is watching. I appreciate it. It's essentially, I am testing the heck out of this whole process of everything that's going on. Oh, okay, it's over there. So I'm gonna let the peeps know. For the new person that just joined us, what is your concept of ideal or education? What is it? Just let me know. And I'll come out of this, get this sent out to the world, and I'll be back. Well, I'm not really gone anywhere. Okay, that's done. So let's go back to the control room and just say, hey, what's your concept of education? Doro, I'm going to abbreviate your name. I'm a college dropout. I made the most money from what I've studied for myself and independently. I'm going to tell you why. When you go to college, now there's this thing. I did go to college and drop out, so I can speak intelligently on what happens. You study, let's say you want to study photography. You go to college. There's going to be many things that you'll do to give you the well-rounded education. Whereas if you study photography on your own and just drill it, just kill it, just every day you're taking pictures. Every day you're watching YouTube videos and you're gathering knowledge and you're applying knowledge. You're gathering it and you're applying it. Where in college, you can just gather knowledge, gather knowledge to the point you forget what you learned or you just don't retain it. And then when it comes time for you to try to apply that knowledge, it's all cloudy and muddled. But when you dedicate yourself, like YouTube, I like the streaming thing. I've just made my mind up. I'm going to be really good at it. With all the giggles to mess up and all the things that happen, I'm going to be very, very good at it. That's the plan. And I just started and I've got the stuff and I've learned a lot. And I've put up quite a few, and I will continue to put up quite a few, because when you do it and you do it, you learn so much. It forces you to reach out. It forces you to look at other things. Now with, hold on a second. Okay, now with traditional education, a lot of that is very political. What you learn, what you don't learn is political. State of Texas was trying to take the word slave or slavery out of textbooks. Now they were essentially trying not to teach their kids the truth. I don't know if that went through or not, but it's a problem. It's really, really a problem. So you ask yourself, do you want to learn the truth? Which, when you do self-education, you have no choice but to learn the truth. You can't get around that. You definitely can't get around that. But if you are in a system that has an agenda, whether you learn the truth or not is immaterial. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you learn the truth if the educational system that you're working with has an agenda that's predicated on people getting paid. And there's a lot of money in education. Doesn't mean it's trickling down to the students. Just something for you to think about. Definitely for something for you to look at and learn from. Okay, let's see. What's up, Morning Blue? The more you learn, the more you earn. It's true. But once again, I'm going to ask you, AD Athlon, what is education to you? And what up, Michael Negron? What's education to you? I mean, seriously, that's a valid question, because when you are looking at that question, you have people in their own skulls. You have this person at a party, right? You got this person at a party. And there's another person. They all use the word education. But all three people have a definite and distinctly different concept of what education is. Person number one thinks education is study, going to France, living with a French family. They think that's education. Person number three thinks self-studies education, and the other one thinks going to college is education. I was in that situation because I was asked a question because someone had a kid, and they was like, well, ask him. You know, he went to school, and I say, I'm the last person you want to ask this question. I'm the last person that you want to bring this to, because I'm going to tell the kid the truth. Here's Ron Henry. Education is any knowledge that makes you more efficient in whatever your area of focus of life is. I can dig it. I can dig it. Now, we had a few people put it in there, and nobody said college. For many people, when you say education, it's immediately the leap is bam, college. Let's see. Hold on, let me make sure my stuff is straight. Getting knowledge that can be applied. Okay, I got a question for you. I was a special ed kid, but I was also an AP kid. I lived in both worlds. I know, strange. But I was in honors literature. Now I'm going to ask you. That's an education. I'm not going to discount going to college. It is an education. I just think that college is not always the best education, or in most cases, even not the best education. And also, there's your financial education. And I'm not talking about taking finance classes either. How does going to being in honors literature, how is that knowledge that I can apply out here to make money? I'm telling y'all, it was my internet. For some reason, this time of day, I don't know. I think I have a data hog. I might have a startup in the neighborhood that's just hogging up a lot of bandwidth because I was playing around with a test and it just popped up. Here's Ron Henry. It doesn't have to come from being in brick and mortar. Life experiences, self-study, books, and are all places to become more educated. I agree 100% because that's how I did most of it. My most effective education came from books and audio courses. Most effective for me. Morning Blue. Most people think a piece of paper saying they completed a course is the only form of education. That's what I'm getting to. That right there. There's this conversation on Facebook that I will go back to. It's just I've got too much to do. I'd rather talk to y'all than to talk to a wall. And that's how this lady is, because I think, let's go back to the Asians. We talked about it before. Asians were not well liked in this country for a long time. But they became, quote, respectable by 1, having businesses, 2, having high incomes, then 3, going to college. Let's look at that again. Number 1, having a business. Number 2, having high incomes. Number 3, going to college. Now, number 3 doesn't make number 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 makes number 3 real easy. And that's how many people have done it. That's how Jewish people did it. If you study the people who come to America and who are successful, business ownership is somewhat part of the package. I give you a great example of this. I was talking to a good friend. I've known him since 2000. He has his own business, and now he owns a bank. That's where the question of how much money it costs to start a bank. And this is what he said. He's got kids, right? And he was saying he's got a daughter who's 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, right? He said it's not enough. He said it's not enough. She's like, she can't compete. She has 3 degrees and she can't compete. This is what this man said. I didn't ask him to say it because I knew what he was saying was true. Going to school, and this is the big disconnect. You go to school and you spend all of that time there and you work really, really, really hard. And you have a 4.0, you have the good grades. Then you come out to the physical world and people are like, I don't care about that. What can you do, fool? Oh, that's all you can do? Here's $8 an hour. That's all you can do? Here's $10 an hour. That's all you can do? Here's $12.50 an hour. And that's it. I was with an Uber guy the other day who quit his job and to drive for Uber because he said he made more money and had more freedom. Let's see. Whoa. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. Hold up. It can't be applied if there's no end goal. What's up, Sheldon Young? Business is always number 1. You better believe it. Yep, study all ethnic minorities, but you need a degree to enter some countries. I'm going to say that's very true. People who have degrees who are coming from India to here, it's just easier to get in. Just much easier. You flip, you phone, I flip. I remember absolutely nothing from college, but I can pull experiences and take lessons off the top. Okay. And let's see, they aren't trying to teach English and history. Ron Henry, it's my set. Well, part of the thing is, okay, my friend is wealthy. He ain't rich, he's wealthy. Rich is a high income. Wealthy is you have assets that are making income. He's very, very wealthy. He owns part of a bank. They have 9 locations. He's wealthy. So I think that plays into her role because long as she doesn't become a dirtbag or piss off her dad and do a lot of stuff wrong, even if she falls on her face, she's got a parachute in her parents who are wealthy. It's a big, I mean, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. As Aaron Clary would say, yeah, 3 worthless degrees. Sadly, most schooling is just preparing kids for a world that doesn't exist. I must agree. Sheldon Young, at almost a 6-figure slave. What is a 6-figure slave? I don't understand that because somebody was talking about NFL players and NBA players were just slaves. Slaves weren't making $10 million a year, $90 million a contract. Slaves weren't making that kind of money. I don't think they were slaves. I think they're working the system. Here's Ron Henry. Nothing wrong with getting a college degree, but I'll take someone with a mind that's not afraid of failing and doesn't ever quit over someone that's only educated. Nicholas Bailey. Higher education is a hustle. If you're going to go to college, network, and build your support system. I think education is some of the higher education in the formal schools is some of the best pimping ever. Because this is the thing. I want you to understand what happened to our university and college system. Go back after World War II. From what I have studied, and correct me if I'm wrong, is after World War II and the GI Bill, the government gave a lot of money to soldiers that they earned. I don't have a problem with that. So as you had this flood of soldiers that were moving out of the army into the world and they were getting these degrees, the colleges said, whoa, we can get extra money. So they started growing and growing and growing and growing. And that's the reason that college education tuition is outstripping the ability of people to pay, because for a long, long time, they didn't have to worry about that person who was taking the class footing the bill. It was Uncle Sam, it was Sally Mae, it was your Aunt Sally Mae. So the money came in regardless if the student was prepared, regardless if the student graduated or not, they still got paid. That's the problem. If colleges had to show results to get that money, our educational system would be completely different. Completely different. Let's see, there's a lot of stuff that's going on down here. Gatekeeping mentality. Alan Tesser, I just started college and I'm starting to see how much of a trend it is. A lot of kids my age don't know what they're getting into. Explain that. What exactly do you mean when you say that? They're only slaves if they squander their money. 2 million can create generational wealth if you're smart. I totally agree. I totally agree. Let's see. Come on. My thing is, really? Don't tell me the questions. Here we go. 6-figure slave, lots of money earned, but no autonomy and a lack of knowledge on how to become more self-determinant. Those guys have half the season off. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, you look at John Elway, he owns half of Denver. So Roger Staubach, he got into commercial real estate years ago. I think it's more incumbent on the person in that situation. So she has little reason for a little desperation is good for the soul. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Her daddy loves her. Let's be real. If she need money, she got money. They used to work in the store. He sells jewelry and stuff. So that is one of the reasons that you have this thing. People don't realize that free college is going to mean a lot less liberal arts and a lot more STEM. Government isn't going to subsidize bullets. I think that's coming. I think we're going to get to the point where the government is going to say, show us the results, show us how many people have graduated, show us what they're really making. And this is a good exercise for y'all. I did this a long time ago, 98, 99, I believe. Go ahead and go to Indeed.com, Glassdoor, all these places that have salary, and take your engineering people, your doctors, your attorneys, folks that must have a degree to practice in that occupation, and subtract those salaries from the rest of the salaries. It will take you a while to go through it because all the information isn't in one place, and you will see that earnings differential ain't there. Because and during the conversation I was having on Facebook, I showed dude proof that, because he was like, the average college graduate makes 2 point something million more than the person with a house. I was like, that is bullshit. The average college student doesn't. The doctor will. The lawyer who has a job and gets paid consistently will. The engineer who stays on the right path, they will. The software engineer will. These people, yes. Regular, just a college degree, no. All right. Man, this is clearly a hot topic. We got a lot of engagement here. Alan Tesser, for instance, the debt they're taking in, the majors they're picking, they party more than they study. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And here's Shelton. Yeah, but how many black owners, not part owners of some Jordan JC shit, but real generational wealth other than the figurehead status symbol? I'm going to give you a name for you to Google. Dave Bing. Bing, just like the website, Bing. David Bing played for the Pistons. Look up David Bing and you will see an example of what you're talking about. A figurehead, a real figurehead, not a status symbol, but a real generational wealth. This guy made more money off the court than he did because he got into supplying parts for automakers. Dave Bing Enterprises. Ron Henry, student loans and IRS debt are the only two kinds that you can never get rid of other than paying it off or dying. Other than that, starting a church, I mean, it's true. It's very true. Because the thing is, when you get to a certain month, all right, I'm just going to say some stuff, what I'm working on. As I've said before, and I'm going to break it down, I'll just go a little deeper than them. I don't own shit because I put the stuff away for the kiddos. Now, I have intellectual property. I have books, other stuff that I've done that I don't talk about. And I don't own it, I just manage it. Now, that's really, really important because if each generation has to start from scratch over and over and over, then you have this greater propensity for generational poverty or generational struggle, because there's nobody that said, I'll be the guy to get the shit started. Like Sam Walton. Sam Walton, if he had left that money to one person, that person would probably be worth 150 billion. And even with the money being broken up through the trust fund, they are still in the top 50. And the money's broken up. I think it's like 17, 20 billion. They're still in the top 25 in the world. In the world. I think there's only maybe 1,000 billionaires worldwide out of 7 billion people. That's pretty rarefied air. Let's see what else. Who else is a comment? Okay, this is so funny. Hold on a second. Let me open up another dash because this is working, but the live chat isn't working. So let's see if this will put me. Yes. Okay, here we are. Let's see. You phone, I flip. My boss owns a bank and has 3 kids working on English PhDs, and none of the kids want to take over the empire. It's breaking his heart. My friend is in the same position. They're in the same. He's in the same position. Yeah, you're definitely guaranteed to get paid with tuition. Yeah, I mean Dave Bing is the shit. Sarah Curtis, off topic. Glendon, can you do a video on copyright and intellectual property? Do you copyright your videos and ebooks? Do you pay the fees and go through the 8th month progress? Give me the education. Okay, this is how copyright works. It's a real simple education. The minute you create something, you automatically have copyright. And if you can prove that you created it and you own it, even if someone ripped you off, you can sue. But here's the gotcha. Let's go through that 8-month process because it's like $30 for a book. If you do not do the copyright through the Copyright Office, if someone steals your skilo, you cannot get what's called statutory damages, which is meaning that if someone steals your stuff and it's just blatant and you prove it, you get statutory damages plus whatever else you're asking for. And statutory damages can be very, very significant. Very significant. But this is the thing, and this is what I tell people. Create your stuff and build a portfolio. Because one of the things is when you create a certain theme, a certain style, I'll give you an example. Say you create a trademark, right? And you never go through the Copyright Office. Then someone comes up and they bite your trademark and they tell you to stop using it. If you go to court and prove you had it first, they may hold a copyright, but you can still use it because you were first. I know it's crazy. A lot of strange stuff happens in courts. But the bigger thing is creating something worth copywriting. Because I have people who, writers who are just afraid to share their ideas or to put their stuff out there. Just go ahead and put it out there because there's a great deal of piracy that happens, especially overseas. And if Sony, Disney, these billion-dollar corporations can't stop it, I am not going to invest a lot of my time in trying to stop it. Minimize it, yes, but like lose them out and just keep putting your content out, make your stuff happen. So, no, the day is, let me tell you what the day is. Matter of fact, let me show you. Today is September 30th, and I've been answering emails and doing stuff, and Amy and I have been very busy. There was no way in the world I was going to do an AM hangout when I knew what was coming. This is the end of the hustlerskungfu.com special. No AM. I'm going to actually talk about that in a second. When you do a lunch, and let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing what's called evergreen lunches. Some people will talk about stuff, build up excitement, build up buzz. And I've seen people make 20,000 in one night. I've seen people make 100,000 in one night. Some people make millions through the lunch method. But I have a different thing that I'm doing. So I'm doing these 30-day lunches, which is in the beginning, like I could just tell you, starting tomorrow, we're going to do Disruptive Ronin, the Economic Warrior. And that lunch is $7.99 to get in there. But it's going to be so packed with value that people who just going to go slap themselves like, I should have got in. I should have got in. I can't lie. Registering copyright ahead of time helps a lot because you can still, if you created it, you can still win in court. But the thing is, you got to go to court. And the thing is, before you can sue, you have to register before you can sue. You cannot go in there and then sue. So it does help out a lot. It makes it a lot. But this is the thing. How many people have created a product or something that they have to copyright? Now, I would say this. If you are are you just a prolific producer? What you do is put your stuff in a catalog and you copyright the catalog, and it copyrights everything in the catalog. So say you're a songwriter and you have 30 beats or something. Put them in together on the album and then copyright that bad boy versus copywriting each one at a time. And the next book that I'm doing is going to be physical. I'm starting on it next month. I'm copywriting that because there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that I know people will want to bite. But yeah, you're right. Registering and going through that process, it's beyond helps a lot. I mean, it could just, you could get paid. Like the lady who wrote the book about the Matrix and it got bit, she didn't copyright it. I mean, it's like, yeah, you did this and yeah, they stole, but it's an issue. It's an issue. But so definitely registering stuff makes a big deal. But with that, let's talk about the fear factor. You can't get ripped off if you never put it out. Just saying. And if you never put it out, no one else is going to know about it. Nicholas Bailey, off-topic question. Does a 501c need to be incorporated as a corporation LLC before gaining 501c3 status? I don't know a lot about that. I know a little. My partner did it. You have to get the status before you can incorporate it as a 501c3. So, like I said, I'm not really a nonprofit guy. I don't know a lot about that, and I won't talk a lot about it. But she did it, and she had to jump through a bunch of damn hoops. A bunch. Because you need to start the process before you even start incorporating. I mean, the catalog thing, because the thing is, like, when I wrote my first book, and I actually had to send someone a cease and desist letter, because they had my book on their website. I mean, it was so blatant, and I was just like, you gotta be kidding. Because this is the thing. Say you have a situation where someone's stealing your stuff, and you have copyrighted it. You still gotta go to court. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Unless you are good enough to do it yourself. And, you know, if you're going to go in state court, you might be able to do pro se. If you're going to federal court, that's a different animal. Last year, and this is something else, just extra knowledge for you, there were 1,235 lawsuits against judges. 900, almost 1,000 got booted. And typically the reason that a federal lawsuit gets booted is you do not follow the court rules of procedure. If you don't file your lawsuit correctly, they're going to go thump. They're going to get rid of it. So it doesn't even mean that your suit may not have merit. So all I'm saying is it's a lot to go down that road. So if you're going to worry about that, make sure that you have a catalog or, you know, intellectual property that is worth all those hassles. Just a big just something to really think about, because for creative people, there's always the fear that someone's going to steal your stuff. It's just there, and it's happened to me, and I was so indignant, and I had my dukes up, and I was going out to fight with people and doing all this stuff, and it's exhausting. And then you get this fear, then you want to stop producing because you don't want someone to steal your stuff. I'm just going to say, if you want to write a book, write it. Put your stuff out there, because no one will ever know who you are unless you put your stuff out there. But that's a pretty interesting question. When I do, because this is the thing, I'm not going to do a regular Kindle course. I'm just not. It's just not my thing. I like the writing process. I'm going to do a tribe building course, because, I'll give you an example. Say, and this, you know, this is a real education. Say you have a crappy book. Really, really, really crappy, right? But you got a tribe that loves you. You'll make more money from that crappy book because you have a tribe than someone who has a book that is brilliant, well edited, brilliant. No one knows about them. And then the one person reads the book and it's like, oh, this is great. Let me tell my friends. And they get that word of mouth. But do you know how much word of mouth you need to sell 200,000 books? You got to be on Good Morning America. You've got to be on The Real, The Talk, all of those shows. You got to just do all of that stuff. You're kidding, Sarah Curtis. Don't go to college to study basket weaving. That's what I did, and I had to learn how to self-educate. There shouldn't even be a basket weaving course in college. That should stop in high school and maybe technical school if you want to learn some things. I mean, seriously, those are the kind of things. Or Ryan Leslie was talking about he chose this course because simply you only had to go once, one class, and put in this big final report. It was just crazy. Those things shouldn't even exist. I mean, really, they shouldn't. But with the thing of education, and I believe it's self-education, if you're determined, if you have discipline and tenacity, is hard to beat, because one of the things about self-education is once you learn how that process works, you know that you have to continue to educate. Because let's go back to 2009. I didn't know any of this stuff. I'll leave my videos up there embarrassing. The first videos from 2009, and you'll see those black bars on the side, and I'm all stiff like, y'all gonna come get me and shit. It was a serious path of education. I had to learn so many things. When I did the sizzle reel of the pilot for the reality show, the cameraman gave me a lot of direction. It's like, do this, do this, do this. And kind of going back to someone that said they've been educating themselves for 20 years. If you just say you want to be a producer, right? And every day you study film, and then you study film and you go out on the street and you film people. You study, you apply. You study, you apply. In a year or two, you're going to be a very good and competent producer. And if you got special skills, you might even be brilliant in a year or two. But the thing is putting in those reps. Think and Grow Rich should be required reading for everyone. Book will change your life if you get the message. I agree. I read that book in high school. And that's something else too I've noticed. A lot of kids don't read anymore. When I was growing up, there was Nancy Drew, the Hardy Boys. There was just so many things that you could do, and everybody was reading that stuff. And I think that's something that's lost. Definitely on this generation. Big time. Big time. Okay, so I'm going to do this again for the folks who are here. And I'm going to test something out in a minute. But for those of you who are here who haven't done it, I'm just going to tell you at 6 p.m. this thing cuts off, and then I'll talk more about what's going to happen for October. Because it's probably, this Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I'll do a different kind of lunch because it's going to be a lot to it. Because what I want to do is get everybody that's in hustlerskungfu.com straight first, and then go off into what we're going to do for October. It will be another 30-day deal. It'll probably be 35. Yeah, probably be 35 days because the way I'm going to get started. But if you want to get in, because I'm telling you, it's going to be some fun stuff. It's going to be fun, and we're going to have a good time. And I'm going to do the new course very much like I did 30 Days of 2,500. Plus, there's going to be an extra wrinkle. Definitely an extra wrinkle. So you will like that. But in terms of more education, more money, it's 100% true. It just goes back to that big question. What is education? That's why I asked people who were there who's like, hey, what's your ideal education? What's your ideal education? Because if you get people in the room, because I was talking to my cousin who we were having this conversation, and I said, degrees just don't work. And he's like, yes, they do. Now understand, I know his background. I know his mother and father. His mother was a math teacher. So you know what lessons he got growing up. Father worked, retired from the auto industry, lived in Detroit. So he saw that work, and it worked for him. And that's what he's going to tell his kids. And as I have these conversations with people and, with folks like you, I've learned that, and not to be overly elitist, that most folks have no clue to what's really going on in the world. Because, see, there's this intersection that people don't talk about when they have the go to college, conversation. There's a guy by the name of Andrew McAfee. Google him. Andrew McAfee, MIT. He and his partner, who has this long German name that I cannot pronounce, study the disappearance of jobs. He's been on 60 Minutes, and it's scary because we're heading to that point, and you're going to see this. And I've talked about this before, but you're going to see it. We're heading to that point where we're going to see driverless vehicles on the road. The next decade is coming. And many manual labor jobs are going to be automated, especially stuff that have repetitive motion type injuries. Because if you can, now here's a financial education for you. Say you have a plant, and we're just going to throw some numbers out there. The plant has annual cost of 1 million operating costs. Out of that 1 million operating costs, 250,000 goes to insurance claims, health insurance, occupational insurance, workers' comp. Yeah, 25%. And you think I'm kidding. If you've got a lot of employees, it could be that high or higher. So you've got all of that money going for that. Now, say you can go out and buy these automation tools, robots, certain processes, and essentially get rid of that 250. Just get rid of it. And let's say that your automation process cost you 250. A sunk cost in these automation processes and robots are guaranteed to last 5 years. They're not going to last forever. They're going to break down. Stuff's going to happen. So you get rid of them, right? You just put $1 million in your pocket without increasing your sales. That's how much money or carbon-based life forms cost. And there's someone right now, there's an MBA, there's someone in the office who's like running these costs because they're getting ready to get some robots, to some automation processes, because they're going to get rid of you. You are the most expensive thing. Carbon-based life forms are the most expensive thing in the economic food chain of a business. Most expensive thing. Salaries, insurance, taxes. Huge. And if they can make the same money and get rid of you, they just increase their income without increasing their sales. Now, if you're in business, that will give you a woody. If you're a dude, it's going to give you a boner. If you're a woman, it's going to make your nipples hard. It's like, wait. I don't have to increase my sales, but I can bring out a 25% increase in profits for the next 5 years. Well, 4, because the first year is going to go into the sunk cost of the machinery. Then after that, then the depreciation of the machine. So the conversation that's missing is, what kind of degree are you getting, and what is it going to prepare you for? Millionaire Fastlane is a good book. That guy, DeMarco, talks the truth. The CBMT. What would you tell a 17-year-old who has the mindset and drive to be an entrepreneur, but his or her parents are trying to stop them about telling them to do this or else stop believing their pipe dreams? Okay, I got an answer for you. This is what you do, and it's going to sound very unethical, so just get ready. You play your parents. You go to a community college. You find the cheapest school you can find. Cheap. You go ahead and take a core course like accounting or something that will get you some kind of job. Cheap. You are looking cheap. You're containing cost. Then you get it to the point where you get your study habits where you can do college, do well, keep a high GPA, and barely be there. Then you take your time and energy and you start a business. You're 17, you start a business at 17. Then 18. Because the thing is, let's say you start a business at 17 and you fucking fall on your face, right? But the lessons you learn will help you with the second business and the third business. So by the time that you graduate college, or maybe you're 25 or 26, you are a seasoned business person, and then anything that you put your hands on to start is going to have a higher chance of success. But play your parents, because they're going to be on your back. They're going to think that you are just throwing your future away, and they're going to use so much energy to knock you off that path that you just can't be straight up with them. You just can't. So go to college, cheap community college. Or if you really want to play them, and also don't waste money just going to school just to go to school and play them, figure out something you can tolerate. You don't have to love it. Or even go to technical school. Because as soon as you can earn enough money to get out their house, then you can do what you want. Because see, this is my thing. If you're living in their house, you got to respect them. That's why when I left home, I was 18, I never went back. There was no way in hell that I could do what I wanted to do with my mother. No. It was just very Calvinistic, very dyed in the wool. A lot of parents think you just, I mean, even to this day, there's a rumor that I'm a criminal because I do that internet thing and probably smoking some of that wacky weed, even though I don't smoke anything. But it's funny. But yeah, that's what you got to do. Start a business, part-time business, something. And you're going to, but see, the thing is, you're 17. You can live on 4 hours of sleep for the next decade, and it's not good. I mean, you could do that. Just bust, man. Start a business, community college, or if you really want to be, say, pick a college that has an accounting program, right? And say you could take part-time classes that go towards your accounting program. Get some kind of skill that will pay you money when you graduate. I was in the military, 92 Bravo, lab tech. I was able to get out of the military, find a job because I had a skill. So do that for yourself. You don't have to be in love with it. You don't have to do this forever and ever. You're probably going to change careers or businesses 7 to 20 times in your lifetime. So that would be my advice to you. Audiobooks are amazing. Because this is the thing. There was this comment in the Facebook thing, which I'll address later, maybe tomorrow because I got a lot to do. But it was like college will prepare you for business. And I was like, no, it won't. The thing that's going to prepare you for business is a business. If you start a small business, I don't care if that business only makes $250 a month. What you will learn from making $250 a month, you're going to have to deal with customers, products, delivery of services. You will learn so much. You'll learn so much. So trust me on that. You don't have to go to college to start a business. In some cases, colleges will fuck up your business because you're going to get information and a mindset from people who've never started a business who are giving you assumption. When I tell you stuff in my courses, I am giving you examples of what I have done. I'm giving you examples. That's why I tell you, when I failed, I failed. It's like, this was fucked up. My first business to do pictures with your pooch. I didn't do any market research. I didn't understand the cost. There were so many things I did wrong. But that helped me to learn what to do the next time. And then the second failure helped me even more. And the thing is, because as you start a business and you don't quit, and that's what I'm saying, start small. Start a small business. My Conundrum Publishing, which I shut down, and now is the Hustlers. Well, there's a lot of companies. But essentially, that company, Conundrum Publishing, Conundrum Media, $298 to start and a lot of sweat equity. 11, 14 month mark, it was like 62 grand. Not killing it, definitely, but enough to pay your bills, enough to put food in the tummy, enough to live on. That's a win. So you got to look at it like this. A small business is a great training incubator for your larger ideas. Let's see. Louis, so I'm taking a writing course and the guy teaching class says, do your research, find similar content and make it your own. Do you agree with that? He's telling you to steal. That's a very gray area because, you can do that. But if you copy someone who has a distinctive writing style and it shows, there are people who will call you out on that. There are people who will sue you. I don't know about that. I would say read a lot of books and it will seep into your writing. But if you're reading 4, 5, 6 different authors, then there will be this amalgamation of all that stuff. Use the word amalgamation. Damn. All right. It will be that, and you will develop your own voice using those processes that you're melding together. So it won't come off as, it'll be like, well, there's a little such, they'll say, well, there's kind of that kind of influence, but no one's going to go, you stole that shit, boy. So yeah, definitely be very, very careful with that. Very careful with that. I would say if you're writing fiction, read business books. And if you're writing business books, read fiction books. I know it sounds a little weird, but it'll help you with that. Nicholas, so then the question here seems to be this: how do we maintain the nation's economy with populations increasing and jobs decreasing? That is a huge and scary fucking question because that's what's happening. I see we're going to have some kind of socialist society because we're going to have to. We're going to have people who are going to do community service and get paid for it. The government's going to provide housing or something. We'll always have an elite. No, don't. This is my thing. You could be part of regular society, or you can be a part of the elite part of society. I'm going to the elite part because you're going to have more options. But I mean, much as we talk about this in America, just out of necessity, we're going to have a lot of socialist programs in play because we have to. We have to. David Simon, the creator of The Wire, go to Google him, check out some of his interviews, and he got this one interview where it's very real. And he wasn't being condescending, and he wasn't being elitist. He said, we have people we have no need for. There are no jobs for them. There's no purpose for them. There's nothing for them. They're just here. That creates a very dangerous environment. Very dangerous. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I feel that if every student, once they graduated high school, had to do 2 years of compulsory military service, we just have a much better country, because everybody will have a common experience to relate to. Everyone. You'll still have your elites and stuff, but you'll have that guy who's the son of a millionaire, who's a roommate of a guy who's a janitor, or the roommate of a guy you'll have that, and you'll have all that experience and that exposure. So it gets to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So just saying. And yes, it worked today. I'm very happy. I'm shocked because I will tell you, for those of you who are going to do a YouTube channel, and this is an educational thing for you, start playing around with live shows, hangouts, and live events. There's 3 different ways that you can do live events on YouTube, and they're all a little different. I was getting ready to do a live event, and when I saw that it was working, because I was like, everything was working, I said, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and do what's called live stream, which is you plug up your ingester. You got software to control the ingester for the live events. You plug it up. Once you hit stream, then bam, all of this actually pops in, and it gets to be really interesting because it just starts. There's no on and off button. It just starts. But the live stream has the most benefits. Like, I'll give you one. Because, like I said, I was going to do this earlier. Now, right now, I pressed the play ad button. So, I don't know. Some of you are seeing it. If you see the commercial, let me know. Because the way YouTube works, everyone is not going to see the commercial. But if you see it, just go ahead and put it in the comment, hey, I saw the commercial. Now, this is why you want to do this. Because there's 21 people watching, right? Now, I just played that commercial's playing. Because of the retention rate, that one ad is going to earn maybe anywhere from $10 to $20. I haven't quite figured it out, but it's way more money than a regular ad. Way more money. So you have a channel and you start kicking out live events, and you got yourself set up for monetization. You could be making $200, $300, $400, $500 a month AdSense with a really small channel if you do live streaming and play the ad. So we got Honey Bunny, I saw the commercial. Louis the Seller, yes, I saw the commercial. Nicholas Bailey, I saw the commercial. Now let's observe your behavior, because we're in the schoolroom. I wish I had a chalkboard. Because this is a live event, you then hit skip and you then check out. So you saw that commercial. I'm telling you, because I had a day, because I normally do $17 to $20 a day in AdSense. I had a day where I did like 60, and I was like, what the hell? And I went back and I was like, oh, I did a live event and I played an ad. So just something that no one else could tell you. All right, we got Nicholas. 4 people saw the commercial. On the regular video, that sucker may play all day and nobody sees the commercial. So you see, that's what I'm saying. That's just something that will help you, because there's a lot of people talking about YouTube, but they don't do YouTube. If you go to a blog and a guy's talking about YouTube or girls talking about YouTube, and you look for their channel and they got like 10, 20, 30 views per video, they don't know how to do YouTube. They have theory. They don't have application. I give you application, because like Louis's got a channel. You start doing live events and running commercials, you probably double or triple your AdSense money. So you skipped after the 5 seconds. Okay, so you have a skip option. See, I didn't know that. That's the reason I did that test. All right, let's go back, because there was a few questions. I'm 20. Brandon Burr. I'm 20. Every time I come up with something to start, I get this crazy amount of energy, but then I somehow talk myself out of it and say, oh, it won't work. And there's too much competition out there, etc. Any ideas? Okay. You don't value yourself. You've been taught that unless you do certain things a certain way, that you're not valuable. And then every time that you try to break out of that paradigm, the sentinels, because this is why you can't hang around a bunch of negative people, and this is why you can't share your ideals with a bunch of negative people. You can have 20 people that go, Brandon, that's an awesome idea, and you can have one person in your family go, baby, I don't know, and that shit will stick with you all week, because negativity is such a strong emotion. I believe negativity is stronger than love based upon what I've seen in my life. So what you got to do is set some goals, write them down, set a deadline, and keep what you're doing to yourself. And go ahead and get this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph E. Murray, and you will see what I'm talking about. You phone, not flip. Why don't we just put a cap on breeding? You make that in a jest. I think that's coming. When I was a kid, there was a show by the name of Logan's Run. And that's exactly what it was. Once people reached a certain age, they had this fake ceremony like they were ascending when they were killing people, because it was their way of population control. I see that happening. I see that if you take government assistance, you're probably going to have a Norplant if you're a woman. Or they may start sterilizing guys. I mean, I see that happening because this planet does not have infinite resources. It has finite resources. So that's one of the scary things about the future. Just very, very scary. You phone, not flip. That's great. My new YouTube channel is all about fuckery and making money off of it. I mean, you can have a show called The Fuckery Hour. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. There's a lot of things that you can do. So there's just something, just things for you to think about. So we had the live session. It was strong, great, 25 to 30 frames per second. So they got rid of the lag. I'm telling you, it's my internet. It's possessed in the morning for some reason. I can do a hangout just fine, but trying to do a live event just doesn't happen. Brandon Burr, heard something about GMO corn and sterilization. There's a lot of foods and stuff in the environment that contain estrogen, and essentially is turning men into women. And that's something that happens if you don't have a high testosterone level. The older you become, the more like a woman you become from an endocrinological standpoint. It's true. It is true. Honey Bunny, there's a formula that already most healthcare programs offer free sterilization now in their covered benefits. Hey Brandon, my nephew had an awesome idea in high school. He sat on it 3 years later. A kid won a $500K grant for the same exact idea, but didn't even build a prototype. He did. You see that happen all the time. Nicholas Bailey, I'm running for president when I'm old enough, and I'll give Glendon a shout out on the campaign trail so the nation will be in good hands. Folks will be scared. Limit camp. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I'm about to get out of here. So for those of you who want to be a part of Hustlers Kung Fu Nation, you got 2 hours and 4 minutes to get in on that deal. And to make it a little sassy and classy, I'll just put the direct link right here, and booyah, we'll let that thing go and sit for a second. So if anyone else has a question, because like I said, today was a really good session, and it's kind of weird because I did this at lunch, and Louis the Seller, that explains why I'm growing man boobs. Seriously, it does, because as your testosterone level decreases, your estrogen goes up, and that's where you get the man boobs. That's why it's so hard for certain guys to lose fat. I mean, it's no joke. You're spot on, as they say. You're spot on. Like today was really cool. Here's something else to let you know. Matter of fact, I think, let's see, hold on. I'll just show it to you. I just gotta set this up. And also part of, yeah. And here we go. I'll just do this. All right. So let's put this here. I'm gonna show you something. Here we go. And click. Oops, I need to turn on the audio. There's a lot of components to this. This is why I do it so often, so I can get better at it. Okay. Now, I'm going to, this is the whole network. This is the setup. The software I use is a Wirecast Play. If you're gonna do it, email me or Amy, and I'll tell you how to get it for cheap, because there's the version I have is normally $500, but if you go through YouTube, it's like $275. So that's $225 savings. I mean, it's pretty big. So this is what I see. Like, go here. You look at this. This is the engagement that you get. And this is why if you have a YouTube channel, you want to do this stuff, because all of this is from this session here, which is a lot. And let's see. I think we're somewhere. Okay, yeah. That's where we started. And we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. So this is a wonderful way. This also makes your YouTube channel stronger, much stronger, because when I go to Social Blade, my ranking went way up. And the only thing I was doing differently was doing these live events. And the thing is, you don't need a bunch of people to be at the live event. Like I said, there's 25 watching. Now, that number is not always correct, because people will start watching, then they'll go, and then when I go into the final report, I'll actually see how many people were watching. But it definitely makes a big difference. So let me check, see if there's any questions. I think I'm scared because I don't think I'm an expert. Well, the only way to become an expert is to do something. Just keep working it out. So I want to say thanks for everybody that came out, shared this hour of your life with me, and I will see you good folks in the next session.